Welcome back to Intrinsic Light, a space of clarity, reflection, and deep inner knowing. I am so glad you are here today, because what is happening in the sky right now is genuinely one of the most potent releasing moments we have had in this entire lunar cycle. And I want you to feel that before we even begin. We are at the last quarter moon in Aquarius, May 9th, 2026, and this moon does not come in gently. Aquarius is electric. It is rebellious. It is the part of us that knows deep down that we were never meant to fit neatly into someone else's version of who we should be. This moon is asking you to break free, to stop conforming to expectations that were never truly yours, to stop shrinking yourself into spaces that were always too small for the fullness of who you are. 1 week ago, the full flower moon rose in Scorpio, and that moon was not quiet. Scorpio digs. It surfaces. It pulls things up from the depths that we have kept buried, old wounds, hidden truths, emotional patterns we thought we had already healed. Whatever came up for you around that time, whatever felt raw or real or uncomfortably honest, that was the first part of this process. Scorpio showed you the roots. Now Aquarius is asking you what you are going to do with what you saw. This is the decision point. This is the mental clarity after the emotional storm. And here is what makes this moment even more significant. In just days, on May 16th, we have a super new moon arriving in Taurus. A super new moon, meaning it is closer to the earth, meaning its energy of new beginnings is amplified and deeply grounded in abundance, in stability, in the physical world blooming back to life. But that new beginning needs space to land. It needs room. And that is exactly what this last quarter moon is creating for you right now. What you release in these days between now and that new moon is not small. It is the direct clearing that makes way for what is coming. Today's reading is called The Universe is Asking You to Let This Go, and it is part of that clearing. This is a pick a card reading, which means there are 3 separate piles here, and one of them holds a message that was meant specifically for you. Each pile carries its own completely independent guidance, its own energy, its own truth. You are not here by accident. You were drawn to this video at this exact moment because something in you is ready to release, ready to create space, ready to step more fully into your own authentic self before this incredible new beginning arrives. So here's what I want you to do right now. Before you scroll any further, I want you to pause. Close your eyes if you can. Take a slow breath in, and as you breathe out, let your body settle. Let your mind quiet for just a moment. Then gently bring your awareness to the 3 piles in front of you. Pile 1 on the left, pile 2 in the center, and pile 3 on the right. Do not overthink it. Do not try to choose with your mind. Just notice where you feel a pull, a warmth, a quiet knowing. It might come as a sensation in your chest, or a simple sense of yes, or maybe one pile just keeps drawing your eyes back to it. Trust that. When you feel your pile, when you know which one is yours, go ahead and scroll down to that message. Your guidance is waiting. Take your time. I will be right here. If you chose the left pile, beautiful soul, there is something so specific and so important that the universe is placing right in front of you today. And I want you to really settle in and receive this message because it is for you. The Queen of Swords has come forward for your pile, and she is one of the most powerful, clear-eyed energies in the entire deck. She sits on her throne with her sword raised high, her gaze sharp and unwavering, cutting through illusion with absolute precision. She sees things as they are, not as she wishes they were. And right now, under this last quarter moon in Aquarius, she is turning that blade inward, not to wound you, but to liberate you. What the universe is asking you to let go of is the story you have been telling yourself through your pain, not the pain itself. The Queen of Swords has known grief. She has known loss. She has sat with hard truths. She does not ask you to pretend you were not hurt. But there is a version of that story that has become armor. There is a way you have been using your past wounds, your past disappointments, maybe even your past betrayals, to keep yourself at a distance from life, from people, from vulnerability. And that armor, beloved, has outlived its purpose. The last quarter moon is a crisis of consciousness, a decision point, and under Aquarius energy, which lives in the mental realm, in the world of ideas and patterns and belief systems, you are being asked to examine the beliefs that grew out of your pain. The belief that people always leave. The belief that you have to be self-sufficient to be safe. The belief that showing softness means showing weakness. These are the things the Queen of Swords, in her highest wisdom, is asking you to lay down. Because here is what is so profound about this card in this moment. The Queen of Swords at her highest vibration is not cold. She is clear. There is a difference. Cold shuts life out. Clear lets only truth in. And you have perhaps been mistaking your emotional guardedness for clarity, when really it has been fear wearing very sophisticated clothing. The Aquarius moon sees through conditioning. It sees through the patterns we inherited, the ones we built in survival, the ones that once made so much sense, but now simply keep us separate from the life that is waiting for us. May 9th sits just days before a super new moon in Taurus, an abundant, grounding, deeply fertile new beginning. What you release right now, tonight, in the coming days, creates the exact space that new chapter needs to take root. And for you, releasing the hardened narrative, the self-protective intellectual distance, the need to always have your sword raised, that is the clearing. That is the gift you give yourself. Numerologically, this day carries the energy of the number 6, harmony, balance, the beautiful tension between caring for yourself and showing up for others. The Queen of Swords is being invited into that harmony, not to stop being sharp, not to stop being wise, but to let the sword rest sometimes, to trust that you do not always have to be ready for a battle that may not be coming. You chose this pile for a reason. Some part of you already knows what needs to be released. Some part of you is tired of standing guard over a heart that deserves to be lived in, not just protected. This moon is your permission. This is your moment to breathe out, lower the sword, and remember that clarity and openness can exist at the same time. And that is where your truest power lives. If you chose the center pile, I want you to take a breath for a moment before we dive in, because what came through for you with this last quarter moon in Aquarius is genuinely beautiful and also genuinely challenging at the same time. You were drawn here for a reason. Trust that. The Four of Wands. This is a card of celebration, of homecoming, of gathering together beneath a shared roof. There are garlands and flowers and people rejoicing. On the surface, it looks like a card of arrival, and it is. But in the context of what the universe is asking you to release right now, this card carries a very specific and tender message. What the universe is asking you to let go of is your attachment to a version of home, belonging, or celebration that no longer fits who you are becoming. Here's what I mean by that. For some of you, this is very literal. There's a place, a community, a family dynamic, or a social circle that you have built your sense of safety and identity around. And on the surface, it looks like something worth holding on to. Maybe it even looks like something to celebrate. But underneath, if you are being really honest with yourself, you know that staying tethered to that version of belonging requires you to shrink. It requires you to perform a version of yourself that is slightly, or maybe significantly, out of date. The Aquarius energy of this moon is asking you to stop performing for the crowd, even a crowd that loves you. For others, this is more internal. The Four of Wands in this position is pointing to an old celebration you are still trying to recreate. Maybe there was a time in your life when things felt joyful and easy and connected, and part of you has been chasing that feeling ever since, trying to rebuild it, trying to return to it, trying to make things look the way they used to look. And the universe, with so much compassion, is tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Sweetheart, that chapter was real, and it was good, and it is complete." You do not have to go back to prove it mattered. This last quarter moon falls just 1 week after the Scorpio full moon surfaced some deep emotional truths for you. What came up during that time is directly connected to what you are being asked to release now. The Scorpio moon dug something up. This Aquarius moon is asking you to process it with clarity rather than sentiment. Can you see the pattern clearly now? Can you see how the need to belong, to be celebrated by specific people, to be seen as the one who holds the family or the group together, can you see how that need has sometimes cost you your own authenticity? The numerology of this day carries the energy of 6, harmony, responsibility, and balance. And that is the real medicine in your reading. You are not being asked to burn anything down. You are not being asked to abandon your people or reject belonging entirely. You are being asked to release the version of harmony that requires your silence. The version of celebration that only happens when you are performing for others. The kind of homecoming that never quite lets you arrive as your full self. The super new moon in Taurus is just days away, and it is bringing something genuinely new and rooted and abundant into your life. But it needs space. It needs you to set down the old garlands so you can weave new ones that celebrate who you actually are right now, not who you used to be, not who others need you to be. You belong to yourself first. That is the homecoming this moon is preparing you for. Welcome home, truly. If you chose the right pile, beautiful soul, take a breath and settle in, because this message was waiting for you. The card that came forward for you is the Hermit. And I want you to sit with that for a moment before we even get into what the universe is asking you to release, because the Hermit is such a deeply personal card. He stands alone on a mountaintop, lantern raised, lighting only the ground just ahead of him. He has walked away from the noise. He has chosen his own counsel. And right now, under this last quarter moon in Aquarius, the universe is using his image to speak something very specific to you. What the universe is asking you to let go of is the story that your solitude, your depth, your way of processing the world is somehow wrong. You have spent too long apologizing for how you think. Too long trying to shrink the size of your inner world to make other people comfortable. There's a version of you that has been quietly dimming, not from fear exactly, but from a kind of exhaustion that comes from years of being told, directly or indirectly, that you are too serious, too quiet, too much inside your own head. And that conditioning, that voice that says you need to be more like everyone else, that is what this moon is asking you to release. Aquarius energy is all about breaking free from what society has decided is normal. And the Hermit, he never cared about normal. He walked his own road. He found his light from within. But here is the tender truth I want to offer you. The Hermit is not asking you to be lonely. He is asking you to be free. There is an enormous difference between chosen solitude, which is sacred and regenerating, and isolation born from the belief that you do not quite belong. If you've been carrying that second one, that quiet ache of feeling like an outsider in spaces that should feel like home, this is the moment to set it down at the foot of this mountain. The full moon in Scorpio just 1 week ago may have brought something difficult to the surface for you. A truth about where you have been giving your energy. A relationship, a group, a community, a role you play in other people's lives that no longer reflects who you actually are. The Hermit under this Aquarius moon is asking you to stop performing belonging. Stop contorting yourself into shapes that fit someone else's expectations of who you should be. That version of you, the one built for other people's comfort, it is time to let her rest. There is a super new moon coming in Taurus in just days. Taurus is the earth beneath the Hermit's feet. It is groundedness. It is authentic value. It is building something real. What you release right now creates the exact foundation that new beginning needs to take root. The universe is not asking you to let go of connection or community. It is asking you to let go of the versions of connection that cost you yourself. You are allowed to be the lantern carrier. You are allowed to move at your own pace, to honor your inner world, to need quiet in order to feel clear. That is not a flaw. That has always been your gift. This Aquarius moon sees it, and it is asking you gently but firmly to finally see it too. Rest in that truth tonight, love. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were always meant to be real. And that, beautiful souls, is the close of our last quarter moon in Aquarius pick a card reading. Whether you chose one pile today, two piles, or you sat with all three and let each message wash over you, that is perfectly okay. Sometimes we need to hear it all. Sometimes the universe is speaking to every layer of who we are at once, and your soul knew exactly which threads to pull. Whatever landed for you today, whether it was the Queen of Swords and her call to cut through the noise, the Four of Wands and its invitation to release the tension that has been keeping you from celebrating where you are, or the Hermit and his quiet, lantern-lit wisdom asking you to come back home to yourself, know that none of that was an accident. You were guided here. You chose what you chose for a reason, and that reason belongs entirely to you. Here is something I want to encourage you to do before this moon passes, before the dark moon arrives, and before that powerful super new moon in Taurus opens a brand new chapter on May 16th. Sit down somewhere quiet, even for just a few minutes, and write it down. Whatever surfaced for you today, whatever made your chest tighten, or your shoulders drop, or your eyes fill up just a little. Write down what the universe is asking you to release. Give it words. Give it a page. And then come back in a week after the new moon has seeded itself into your life and look at what you wrote. Notice what has already begun to shift, because it will. That is the magic of this moon. That is the magic of you being willing to show up and ask the question. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are right on time, and you are exactly the kind of soul this moment was made for. The Aquarius moon does not ask perfection from you. It asks authenticity, and you already have that within you. You always have. Until our next reading, keep trusting your own intrinsic light.